Good morning, everybody. Today is my Saturday, and since last night we pretty much wrapped up the frame here, it's time to move on to another phase of the project. And the two things that immediately come to mind would be building the support system for the front sheet metal, basically the radiator support. I'm not going to be using anything that you see in here, including these inner fender liners. I'm gonna start from scratch, and the reason why is because I'm really gonna try to cram the original radiator and intercooler into what we are building here. It's not looking real plausible, but I'm gonna try anyways because it works well with the Cummins combination, and any other radiator that you would mostly stick in here is going to be a lot smaller, and I really don't want to lose a lot of cooling capacity or air charge cooling capacity either, for that matter. So that's coming up. But first, I want to replace the firewall and the floor in the cab, and the reason why is because whoever had this before me, they were an amateur as well, and they didn't really let's just say that they cared even less than I do about making things look pretty. And what I mean by that is, you can see they would just overlap the original firewall sheet metal with thicker plate, and that's real bad because rust is going to form in between these two plates and just get out of control. And it doesn't matter if you paint it, seal it, whatever. Once rust starts in there, it's done. So we also have a lot of holes and just areas that are not real pretty. You know, a lot of it would work, but it just irks me, so I can't keep it. So the first thing I've done is taken a wire wheel, and I've cleaned up the edge here all the way around the firewall to expose the spot welds. And what we're gonna do is take a small drill bit and drill in the center of each spot weld, and then take a larger drill bit and punch through with it, and that should separate everything pretty cleanly. The way this guy overlaid the plate on here, it looks like he just literally welded it only to the old firewall sheet metal, and with any luck, just by splitting most of these spot welds, it should come apart pretty clean. There's a few areas where he welded directly to other metal, but we should be able to just slice it with a cutoff wheel and get it to come out. There's a lot of other stuff, like the way he attached these cab mounts, that I really don't like. He did it right by filling in the holes that he drilled here, but then he went and put tacks on the outside because he didn't do tacks good enough on the inside, and these ugly blobs right here really bother me as well. So I've got to figure, I'm probably gonna break those off and reattach them properly. It just bothers me real bad. And we're gonna again come all the way down here to the floor and remove it the same way. So yeah, it's about time to bust out the drill with the drill bit and start shooting some holes. It's not a quick process, but it's definitely going to show in the end, because it will look completely original. I mean, the firewall itself is going to be completely smooth. I'm not going to have a booster mounted to it or anything. All that's going to be underneath the cap. So yeah. Adjustable height work surface, so worth it. Never have to bend over or be on my knees. Ergonomic. Okay, I think we've been at it about 15 minutes, and we've got the first portion of the firewall completely drilled out with small drill bit. And now we're gonna step the drill bit size up, and we don't have to punch all the way through. We really just have to go through the first layer of metal. And you want to choose a drill bit that's not too big, but bigger than the spot welds. And the reason for that is what we're attempting to do here is remove the spot weld entirely from the outermost panel, and then the inner panels should just separate very easily. And so let's throw this guy in here and go around again. A lot of times you'll know when you've punched through the first layer because you'll hit a fresh layer of rust, or you'll see the metal start to turn like a bluish color because it gets really thin, and when it gets really thin, it gets really hot while you're drilling it. So you just have to pay close attention and just go a little bit at a time. Once you get into the groove of it goes pretty quick. It's hard to zoom in with this GoPro, but you can kind of see it. It's worth mentioning that you can just punch all the way through if you want to. A lot of times when I've done this in the past, I don't like to punch all the way through because one of the layers I'm going to end up welding back to. So I always like to try and get it like this all the way across the board. All right, once you've finished drilling out the spot welds, what you're gonna wanna do is grab yourself a scraper or a putty knife, one of the thick ones with a sharpened edge, and get it in between the panels and just start tapping it through all the spot welds, and that'll separate any areas that you might have not been on center. And just go slow because you can't tear the metal, especially with old stuff like this. Alright, I think I've got the front portion of the firewall completely separated. There was a tab inside here connecting the side pillars to the firewall, so I went ahead and drilled those out as well. And I'm gonna go ahead and take the Sawzall now and cut the firewall from here to here and remove it, because we are starting to get into an area where the prior fabricator did a lot of questionable repair work. So I'm gonna take it out a piece at a time. It'll make it a lot easier, I think. Well, it doesn't look like it shows, but I just dropped this thing and cracked my brand new lens. So I went ahead and ordered 3 this time, since it seems like you know, to be something that I do consistently. Hopefully my screen protector will get here with the new lenses, and I can stop damaging these things so much. But we are making progress. As you can see, I've got the firewall starting to separate from the cab. We are having an issue in this area on both sides where the prior fabricator welded in a patch panel. It seems like his welds penetrated through to the interior panels, and it's hanging us up. I'm probably just going to take the plasma cutter and cut from here to our line right here to remove this, and then we can get a better view of what's going on inside this area, and if anything we'll be able to grind it from the inside out, so as to spare the cab and just get out the firewall. Okay, I ended up not plasma cutting it there because of the bracket on the inside. We would have hit it and damaged it. So what I'm doing is just grabbing a piece of the firewall and holding the cab and just wiggling it back and forth. And what that's doing is it's fatiguing the metal and causing it to separate. It's cracking right there, so it looks like we're gonna keep the cowl in one piece and have the firewall pop right out. I'll kind of give you guys a little demonstration here if I can find some place to set this camera. Let's see. Yeah, that'll work. There you have it. so the firewall's front section is out. Oh yeah, lots of MIG wire in there, very beautiful. So looks like we might have some work to do in there, but where don't we have work to do? So keep going. Okay, now that we've got the front panel out, we can flip the cab onto its back and start removing the lower portions of the floor and the toe board. This piece here, you can see it's only attached in certain places, so it's actually a good thing because it means that he didn't do any welding to where the spot welds attach it. It should come out pretty clean. We did manage to get the firewall out in one piece for the most part. It's going to make a really good template to make our new smoothed out firewall. And let's get this cab flipped over so we can continue. All right, so we're going to lower the cab down so we can flip it onto its back in order to start drilling out spot welds along the rocker area. Okay, we got the cab flipped onto its back and got a good view now of what the underside looks like, so I can show you guys. I'm not knocking it, I'm not judging it, but it's just not up to my standards. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove all of it and do something a little bit more clean and simple. I think I'm gonna go with like a square tube support structure along the bottom, and then just overlay sheet metal over that. And for the firewall, it's gonna be pretty smooth, I think. So let's get started. First thing we're gonna do is start drilling out these spot welds here, work our way down. There is a lot of ugliness that I'm gonna have to decide what I want to do with it. He did make quite a few patches that don't look terrible until you get up close, but you know, it's part of the process, I guess. So let's get started. All right, we got all our spot welds drilled out of the toe board area. And you can see this is one of the junctions for the floorboard. So that's where we'll go ahead and split it. This side's ready to go as well. Time to step up the drill bit size and hit them again. Okay, we punched through with the larger bit, and now we've got our putty knife, and we're just running it straight down the seam, making all of the spot welds. Well, it's going really good, and we've reached this area where it appears as though there's been a patch, except he didn't cut out the rust area. He just bent a piece and laid it over it and tacked it on. And it did the same thing on the interior too. So I think I'm gonna remove this and, oh God, it's got tack welds in the center and all around the exterior perimeter. So, yeah, we're gonna take the grinder with the cutoff wheel and knock these down as much as we can. And Yeah, we're gonna try and drilling out MIG welded MIG welds like this doesn't work as smoothly as drilling out spot welds because it's really hard and drill bits just don't go through it well. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Okay, I've got the toe board mostly separated. You can see it's coming out pretty good. It's just basically hung up on the joint here where it connects to the floorboard. And the way I am going to separate that is the same way I got the firewall out. I'm just gonna rock it back and forth like this until the metal fatigues and the whole piece just falls right out. I'll let you guys watch. We might have to cut a couple more. All right, it's about to pop out, so I'm just gonna give it a couple of there. There it is. All right, everybody, we got the toe board section completely removed, and it came out pretty clean, I must say, for how much funny business we had going on underneath here. But I'm really happy with the way we're progressing. I thought it was going to be a nightmare, to be honest with you. I stood here for about an hour this morning just looking at it, dreading getting into it, but once you jump in, usually gets done pretty quick.